Welcome to 3D Blender tutorials with me, Ghartey-Mould, also known as the graphics guru. And so today we are going to use the Blender app, and then I don't think many of us have fair idea about the app and how to go about it. So I'm going to use this opportunity to dive into some basic stuff when using the Blender app, and that will take us through our course, I think. And so this is what you will get when you open the Blender app. The link is in the description below, and so you can get it, and then we can move through in the next lesson. Okay, so these are some recent files I've worked with. And so when you come here, this is for the general stuff. You can do animation inside there, you can do some editing and then some text inside there, and this is for only 2D animation, and this is for sculpting, and this is for some VFX effects, but most of the time you can use the Adobe After Effects and all those stuffs. And then this is for video editing. You can be editing your videos and scenes inside Blender. And the reason why I chose Blender is because Blender is a free app for 3D designing and animation. And for other stuff, I don't know, I can't condemn them, but they are also good, but then you have to purchase them, the likes of Cinema 4D and others. So today we are gonna dive into it. Okay, let's go. General. So we are gonna use the general stuff, alright? And then on this tab you get the menu options, all those stuff you need to use. We'll dive into that later, alright? And so this is the general screen you get when you open the Blender app. Okay, the cube, the light, the camera, and then the general scene, the environment. Okay, the environment you'll be working inside, the x-axis line, and then the y-axis line, and then the z-axis. Let's say change Z. You see this blue line? Yeah, this is the z-axis line you'll be working with. All right, and so on this tab you can add some materials, textures, effects. This is generally what you'll be whether you are working in EV or cycles. You'll be using the bloom, screen space, reflection, motion blur, simplify, freestyle, all those stuffs. All right, yeah. And then okay, so on this tab you see this is the size of the resolution when you are rendering. All right, you can there's the frame of which it will be rendering inside. You see when we come here, this place, you can get so many editor types here. You have the 3D viewport, image editor, UV editor, shader editor, compositor. We'll be using them along the line, so you have a fair idea of them. All right, yeah. So this place is for the animation, adding keyframes and other stuffs. All right, yeah. So when you add the keyframes, you see them showing up here, and we have 250 keyframes on default. You can increase them as to how you want them to be. All right, yeah. We'll be working in 24 frames per second as default, but you can increase them 25, 29, 30, 50, 60, but mostly we'll be using either 24 frames per second or 30 frames per second. That is how generally people use. So and so you come here, this is the output. You click on this button, and then this is how you get the views. This is in picture frames. Okay, you see when you are rendering an animation, it can render them in picture frames, okay, as to how the movement will go and all that stuff. So you can see there is a movement in the pictures as I'm scrolling down. All right, yeah. But if you are rendering an animation, just come, you see this is where you select your storage, where you want the files to be saved, the videos to be saved. All right, yeah. And then you just come in and select accept. Okay, so you see this is it, videos, and then you come in and you select the file format, whether I want to do it in FFmpeg, AVI RAW, AVI JPEG, okay, JPEG, this. All right, but mostly when you are doing a smooth video, we prefer using FFmpeg or AVI JPEG. All right, yeah. And then when you want to save a picture, then you just come here, you click render. If it's an image, you click render image. If it's an animation, you click render animation. All right, yeah. And so that's generally how we'll be using the Blender in working. All right, thank you. Catch you in the next episode.